So hi everyone, my name is Dustin. I'm based here in Deer Valley, just on the north side of Phoenix. I've been flying with Angel Flight for about 4 years now. Discovered with my love for aviation, kind of midlife, 2020, and wasn't too long after we purchased our first airplane, which was a Piper Arrow. I got my commercial certificate and wanted to start giving back, so signed up for Angel Flight. And flew a handful of missions in that, and then purchased the Bonanza that I've been flying now for a little over 2 years. My contact info is there. Feel free to reach out to me at any point after the call today if you have any questions or just want to talk more about potentially being a volunteer pilot. So why we fly? Honestly, like you're if you're on this call, you're privileged because you're a private, you're a pilot and you have the ability to fly. I don't think very many people uh, in the U.S. have that opportunity. So I view it as a tremendous way to give back. And one of the things I have up there is I feel like you can only go to the same restaurant so many times and have the proverbial $100 hamburger. So I think my wife's on the call here as well. She would probably attest that she would not want to fly every weekend given the option. So it's an opportunity for me to get up and do something that I love when my family probably would prefer to only do it maybe once a month or every 6 weeks. So great way to make connections, meet people, and just you may not feel like you're providing a service, and it may be a trivial flight for you to go fly 100 or 150 miles, but that's life changing for a lot of the passengers. So if you're considering flying your first mission, um, the same bars apply. It's just as if you're flying friends or family for the first time. So performance, modems, fuel requirements, all of the above. One thing that I would say is plan ahead, uh, make calls to different FBOs, even if it's a non-towered airport with like a terminal, worth calling just to make sure that there aren't any fees that you would be responsible for. More often than not, most FBOs will waive some or all fees, and in some cases, I think they give discounts on fuel as well. So make sure you call ahead and coordinate that. Not all FBOs are familiar with Angel Flight. I've experienced ones that they have to put me on hold, or I end up calling back and getting a different answer from someone else. So I think the smaller FBOs may not always be aware of what Angel Flight is or what they do or how they operate. Once once educated, they typically are pretty accommodating and will waive most fees. Um, I've got these kind of headings out of order here, but after the mission has been assigned, that kind of coincides. You'll sign up for a mission in the portal, request it, it gets assigned. You're probably starting to kind of do some research on those FBOs at around the same time. I wanted to put this one in here because I had an experience earlier this year where I get a lot of unsolicited phone calls, and I got to the point where I was pretty aggressively blocking phone numbers just to try and cut down on the spam calls. And I had a passenger reach out to me before I had established contact with him, and I ended up blocking one of their numbers inadvertently, and that caused quite a bit of confusion over the ensuing 2 or 3 days that followed. So I recommend when you get the mission itinerary, take that phone number and add it to your contacts. And then then you have a name and a number. It's easy to identify any passengers, whether they're texting or calling. I have a sample text message kind of that I put there, but that's typically what I will reach out with, something along those lines, identifying who you are. I'm your pilot for thus and such day. I don't give them a whole lot more information than that. If it's more than 1 or 2 days out, I don't try to nail down a specific time or location, because I think in a lot of cases that can just be overwhelming for the passengers. So just reaching out if they have questions, you're opening the line of communication at that point. So that's my recommendation for initial contact. Just kind of like two-way radio communications, just who you are, where you are. Shameless plug for Aviation Weather Center, aviationweather.gov. I really like to use this kind of at the 7 day out mark. The prog charts tend to be reasonably accurate. There's different overlays you can play with, and you can put your planned route of flight in. It just makes it easy to kind of get a good overall picture of weather. And then when I get within that, 72, 48-hour mark, I'll start looking at things like potential icing, clouds, all of the other relevant weather information. That's the point at which I will call the FBO and let them know that I'm coming. If it's like an Atlantic or a signature or somebody, I'll just get on their schedule so that they know to expect me. But that's what I like to do in terms of kind of briefing weather. And as you get closer to within the 24-hour mark, obviously do a full standard briefing. Good kind of segue into the number one priority for Angel Flight is safety. It's no different than flying with either as by yourself or with other friends and family. Safety is the number one priority. You are the pilot in command. All of the passengers are informed that no flight is guaranteed. So, hey, it does happen. You do have to cancel. I've had to cancel. It's unfortunate, but don't let that external pressure cause you to make decisions that would compromise safety. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. Sherry, Jess, please chime in too if I'm glossing over any of these key points. But comfort, I like to prioritize second. So we'll kind of talk about that. But assuming everything's a go and weather looks good, mechanical issues, follow the I'm safe checklist, all the stuff that you hear. You guys are all pilots, you know that. Whether you're meeting them for the outbound leg or you've flown to pick them up for a return leg or vice versa. Establish contact, identify yourself. I try my best to wear an Angel Flight shirt. Normally I have a clean one. I'll make sure I'm wearing that. You'll have lanyards and a badge as well. All those. You are kind of talk to them. For the most part, you're not flying. I think, I don't know, you guys have statistics for what the percentage of first time flyers is versus how many are repeat?
We do, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. So
if I had to speculate, in my experience, it's probably been like 10 to 15, maybe even less than 10% of my missions have been first time flyers. So they know kind of what to expect. They've flown in a smaller craft at that point already. They may not be familiar with your make and model. So obviously, anything unique to that, like briefing how to open doors and the safety briefing, which I'll cover on the next slide, but cover that. But you don't need to go over generally all of kind of the nuances of flying general aviation. If it is their first time flight, spend a little bit more time, make sure they're kind of comfortable with that. Don't rush them. Remind them to use the restroom one last time. Those sorts of things. Talk about kind of the plan for the flight. If it's the return leg and you flew out, you can kind of share what the weather was like, hey, flew out, it was smooth, or hey, we had some bumps between here and there, and then they kind of know to expect that. I think that's helpful. Just kind of calming any sort of nerves that they might be having. So as you go out to the plane and help your passengers load, offer to help them just like you would anyone else. Take their baggage. Don't force help on them. Some of them are pretty independent. Don't want it. Don't need it. I like to kind of ask about motion sickness. Even someone that's a veteran passenger, they may have just received treatment, and one of the side effects is nausea. So I like to have acquired a collection of the little blue donut-shaped vomit bags from doing different volunteer things, and so I have a couple of those in the glove box in the plane and in the back that are accessible. If you don't have those, the little emergency bathroom packs with the desiccant in them, those are a good option, or even just plastic bags. Make sure you have those. If you're going to be flying any infants, I do recommend having I think Amazon sells little hearing protection headsets. I don't know if you can zoom in on the picture there, but I think they're like $20. So I recommend having those for smaller passengers. Help if you don't have kids or haven't had kids, make sure you're comfortable, or the passenger guardian is comfortable latching in the base of like any car seat. Don't rush that. For the safety briefing, I think most of you are familiar with the acronym. I like to use it just as a good mnemonic to avoid glossing over something, but seatbelts, air vents, fire extinguisher, exits. That's probably the big thing with the Bonanza. Even for people that haven't or that have flown Angel Flight before, I make sure that they know how to open my rear cargo door in the event of an off-airport landing. That typically, I think, kind of raises people's anxiety a little bit covering that. I like to say, like, look, I've not had this happen. Don't plan on having it happen today, but in the event, you're fine. I just needed to open this door for any off-airport landing. Kind of tell them what to expect, and then any other emergency egress. And then T is for traffic and talking. So that's kind of where I cover the sterile cockpit. Give them the option to like, hey, let me know like if you want to hear. I think I would say most of my passengers actually appreciate hearing the ATC communications, so they like not being isolated. But I let them know like, hey, if it's noisy or you're annoyed or whatever, just let me know. I'll isolate you and just tap me if you need something. And obviously taxi, takeoff, landing, or critical phases of flight, covering that. It's also when I'll typically offer music that's kind of gets into the comfort. I'll show them where the heat is, and tell them don't speak up. I've had people that shame on me for maybe making them not comfortable enough, but I've had people go an hour and I look back and they're shivering and I'm like, say something like I can turn on heat, or vice versa. If they're hot, you may not have air conditioning, but you can open up vents, do the best you can. And then some people, I'm talking a lot now because I'm the presenter here, but you can find yourself talking too much to a passenger that they don't feel great and like, they just want to be left alone. So just situational awareness, read the room. I like to kind of say that. I've flown people that haven't said a word or two, and you may think that they're really upset, but they're just in pain or they're tired, and they still appreciate having the blessing of the flight that you can provide. Call sign. I like to talk about this one. I've flown with other Angel Flight command pilots, and I think this is kind of an area of confusion. So I'll try and kind of clear it up here. You should only use the call sign when the Angel Flight call sign that you're assigned when you have passengers on board. Do recommend doing so, and for any air flight not in the vicinity of your local airport, always recommend flight following at least, if not IFR flight plan or an instrument flight plan. But do that with your call sign because that should give you priority. I typically will see where they'll work me first straight in or put me ahead of other VFR traffic. But it helps raise awareness. So like someone else that may be on frequency and hasn't heard of Angel Flight, that may pique their interest and they may go look that up after the flight. So I think that's just a good way to kind of spread awareness for what Angel Flight does. And then yeah, for you and your passenger, in theory, it expedites getting you to their destination. If you don't have a transponder that allows you to change the call sign, that's probably not an option for you. If you have any questions about programming your transponder, feel free to reach out to me and can pull up the manual and see if that's something you're just capable of doing. And if you have any questions about how to file that with the call sign for like an instrument flight plan, certainly reach out. I can go into I'll show you with Garmin Pilot or PolePilot what all it takes. It's pretty straightforward once you've done it once. Kind of overall comment just around making your passengers feel at ease. Just you're a pilot. You're calm, cool, collected. You're piloting command, so you can do a lot by not appearing to be in duress or under stress. You can also, I think, head off a lot of would-be concern by anticipating certain things. So if you have any sort of avionics that have enunciations for traffic, terrain, or like top of descent, sometimes those enunciations are pretty alarming and pretty loud. Do your best to let the passengers know ahead of time, or if you can, and if you're comfortable, disable those. So I've gone to airports like Rifle, Colorado, where going out of there, you're climbing through a pass, and my terrain would enunciate every 10 or 15 seconds if not suppressed or inhibited. So if you're comfortable, disable it. Don't forget to re-enable it once you're clear of grant, obviously. But I think you can calm people's nerves quite a bit by letting them know, like, hey, we're gonna hear some terrain warnings. That's normal, particularly in my plane where they're if they're facing the rear of the aircraft, they can't see where they're going. That could be pretty alarming. So if you've got them isolated, you can even just kind of turn your head and look back. You don't have to, you know, remove the isolation on your audio panel and keep bothering them. They might be sleeping, so to the extent you can, keep those enunciations on, turned down, or disabled. If they're awake and on intercom, then you can say like, "Hey, is everything going all right? Doing all right back there?" Just stay in contact. Your priority is obviously still flying the airplane first, communicating, but navigating, communicating. Yeah, to the extent that you can, just make sure they're comfortable. On the arrival, if this is one of their first flights, or if they haven't done a whole lot of GA flying, probably a good idea to let them know if you're going to be flying the pattern or making any turns to avoid traffic. To the extent that you can anticipate that and let your passengers know that that's good. Some of them may not be used to flying downwind in a base leg and final. And then just really the reverse of loading. Help them unload. If the FBO brings a golf cart out, or there's a luggage cart or something, help them to the extent you can use that. Use your resources there. Don't be afraid to ask the FBO staff or the folks on the ramp for assistance as needed. And then when you're done, I don't think there's a rush to do it, but don't forget within a day or two, go back to your computer, file the mission report. Angel Flight uses that for their records. It's good for you. You get a year-end report, and make sure you take photos. I don't know that I've really had any passengers that refused or didn't want to take a photo. Angel Flight uses those for, again, marketing awareness. It's just good for fundraising, and I'm sure probably some other things I'm not thinking of right now. Check under your seats. I have had sunglasses. I found them when I got back to my home airport. I found the driver's license. Well, I didn't find it. Passenger called and asked me if they left it, and then I found it. That caused some anxiety for them for the following couple of days. I had to mail it to them. But that's a good one as they're kind of unloading, check around the seat belts. Yeah. You're flying passengers though. You've done this. If you meet Angel Flight's minimums, I think what is it, 250 PIC cross country or commercial cert. If you meet those,
250
you've
PIC,
flown.
75 cross country.
Okay, sorry.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You've if you meet those, you've flown other people. Probably good chance that some of them it was their first GA flight. Don't uh, don't think any differently. These are just normal people. You're not flying them to critical care. We're not med flight or anything. So again, safety. Don't let any external pressure affect your risk assessment or decision making. Sherry, you want to take that one from Mike? That's a good question,
Sure.
Mike.
Mike, I wouldn't say you're responsible for that. Other than most passengers are not going to have their own ear protection. So if you don't have headsets for them, I know we have some pilots who provide those little plug-in little foamy ear protection that you can use. Definitely want to mention to them if you don't have headsets for them. So, but I think most of our pilots, um, uh, definitely owners have headsets for the back seats, and some of the renters do too. So, I don't guess the answer is we don't require it, but it's nice if you can do it. More Jeff, do you all fly single engine pilot or single pilot, or are there opportunities for SIC? Uh, so Dustin, this is what we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
was
want
going to
to
say,
go ahead? Go
yeah,
ahead.
no. So it wouldn't be SIC, but we do have mission assistance for Part 91. I don't think there's any requirement for in-flight operations to have a second pilot. But there are mission assistant opportunities. So if a command pilot, once you request a mission, there's an option to checkbox, I think, for mission assistant. And that sends out a notification to anyone that is signed up as a mission assistant or has indicated interest in flying as a mission assistant. Um, there's a follow-up question from Robin, that pretty natural follow-up question. Um, I will try and check that box, weight and balance permitting. And what that does for Robin's question, sends out notification to all mission assistants or interested parties. I think there's a toggle you guys can turn on and off. And then they fill out is it a web form, Sheree, now?
Yeah,
That sends a,
it's part of VPoints, correct?
yeah. And then as command pilot, they get notified that here's a mission assistant that is interested and they can accept or decline. And then it would just be up to you, Robin, to then coordinate with that command pilot to tag along. And that, if I highly recommend that if anyone is looking to fly their first passengers and they're still nervous about flying your first command mission, command pilot mission, you just tag along and see what the command pilot does. I think you'd be surprised. It's really nothing to it.
You can also reach out to your local wing leader. So depending on where you are, you should have the information for your wing leader. If you don't, you can reach out to us at that missions team email, or Jess will drop another email in there, volunteer info, which is our volunteer services coordinators. They can connect you to your local wing leader. Some of those are in touch with some of the pilots that they know that might be willing to take a mission assistant along. And then Sammy, good timing for your question. We currently are starting a program that we call Ground Crew. And Ground Crew is a way, specifically for what you're asking, for pilots. We don't have the ability necessarily for you to build that time in the right seat, but while you're building that and you want to stay in touch with Angel Flight, there are some positions we call ground crew that are helping out in a variety of ways. So if you're interested in that, some of it is uh, helping us engage pilots, helping us fill missions, working with the communications department, working with our development department. So all of those opportunities are available. So if you're interested in that, Sammy, reach out to volunteer info and somebody will get back to you to discuss that. Oh, Jess dropped a jot form for ground crew in there. Thank you, Jess.
Ace has a good comment there. Great suggestion, just for anyone not reading the chat. Send a photo of the airplane. That's a great idea, and a map for where to meet. And then yeah, if you have a low wing with pretty good step, bring along a little step ladder or stool. It's a good suggestion there for sure. And then Ken, you do not have to have your own airplane. You can use a rental. I think there are insurance minimums. Is it 1,300,000, 100?
500, 500, 500,000, 100,000 per seat.
And then obviously the rental or the owner that provides the rental need to be okay with you using it for Angel Flight. I think I've asked a few different ones, and in my experience, they've not had any issue with it. No different than flying another passenger. Jeff, no, they do not. Mission assistants are just passengers at that point.
Correct.
Is there a network of aircraft owners who allow aircraft to use? I don't know of any.
There is not. There is not. Uh, some flying clubs will give a small discount for Angel Flight. Actually, I haven't talked to anybody recently, but I know there used to be some that did, and I don't know if they still do that. But if you belong
Yeah.
to a flying club, it's always a good question to ask them, hey, if I want to use one of your airplanes for Angel Flight, will you give me a discount?
Every day.
Uh,
Flights, yeah. I encourage you, if you're not signed up, get signed up and just poke around in the portal. There's different ways to filter kind of through. Maybe that'd be a good interactive demo. Pull that up and even show you guys wanted. But getting into depoys, you can filter on state or wing or nearby opportunities.
yes, we have a lot of flights out of BJC, EIK, APA. So those flights are happening all the time up there. Anybody else? Well, Dustin, as always, I get sort of blown away when one of our pilots does these presentations. It is so comforting to me to realize how well you know the organization and all of the little details about flying missions. You have them pinned down. So we will have this available for on video. Oh, I see a few more. I'll get those too.
Yeah.
Uh, so Ken, I'll give you the basic requirements and then you can get those off our website as well, or send that email to volunteer info, or there Jess is 7 steps ahead of me. You can use Jess's link. We do have a store where you can get an Angel Flight shirt. It is on our website. Jess, do you want to drop that in? Okay, thank you. Um,
I
so
say
if you,
Chris and Greg asked the same question. What's next?
Mhm.
So if you're not signed up as a command pilot, go fill out the application, get signed up. They have to submit proof of insurance and pilot profile, and
Proof
at
of
that
your
point,
hours,
yeah,
and do an orientation online, which is pretty simple. It's just some videos to watch and some little quizzes to take. There is an AOPA volunteer pilot safety course that you need to take, but that is all pretty easy. Um, Alex, yeah. So once you become a command pilot, you will start to get emails and texts about missions in your area. And depending on the requirements that you put into your specifications, you'll get those that are closest to your home airport. Now, you may be based at an airport where missions don't go in or out of for a variety of reasons, but there may be some close to you. So,
yeah, I think there's a nearby filter option. There's a mobile app as well. Yeah, once you're approved as a pilot, I like to just log into the portal and pull up the flights that are available, and you can filter by date or nearby missions. Yeah, sign up for a mission or reach out next time you see a mission. Are they by default, as part of the sign up process, an option to indicate that you would like to receive notifications for mission assistant opportunities?
we're working on that.
Or is
So,
that a
no,
separate process? Okay.
it currently is not ideal, but we're working on it.
Third class, Jeff,
Or basic med as well.
or basic. Yeah, sorry. That's all part
And
91.
anybody else? By the way, Dustin, when you were talking about staying calm, cool, and collected as a command pilot, you reminded me many years ago we had a pilot who was flying, had a passenger on board. He lost his engine and had to make an emergency landing, circled around, obviously landed perfectly safe. And later on, he said to the passenger, "Were you scared?" And she said, "No, you were so calm, I didn't know I was supposed to be scared." So I figure he did his job.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next town hall will be safety.
Yes, we'll set the date for September, but it will be safety.
Those are well attended and our speakers are always interesting and we cannot be safe enough. So Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate your time. We know everybody's time is valuable. And we will see you next time around. Dustin, if you'd stick back a minute, that'd be